So we have all the little babies up here. We got them up last night, and so that was a little easier to run them through this morning. So we just we're gonna run everybody through, make sure everybody looks good, give them any vaccines that they need, and see if they need any follow-up care after that.
I know you're real sweet, but you're just standing there. Me too. Come on. Good girl. Hey, sweet girl. Hi, Mama. Hi, good girl. I'm gonna touch you. Oh, that's a good girl. It's okay. Good girl. The little filly / mare, we have her down as a yearling, that's in the chute right now, has just made some really great life choices. She's the oldest one of this group, and she let me just gently palpate. She let me listen to her lungs and her heart, and she let me palpate up underneath her neck, and I'm really happy with how she looks. She was sick along with the rest of this group, and everybody's looking much, much better. So I'm really happy with how she looks today. She's one of the few that got her vaccines when we intook her, so she doesn't need any vaccines today, and we're deworming everybody with a feed-through dewormer, so we're not gonna deworm her today. She's gonna get that overfeed. So she is ready to go out, and I'm really happy with how she looked.
Nice. Alrighty, now that one is closest to the squeeze chute.
Okay, easy, easy, easy. You're okay, you want some treat?
Little Naira is all done with her little brief exam. I gave her a 5-way and a rabies, and then she's gonna do a little bit more quarantine, and then she'll be ready for her home.
There she is. Alrighty. Yeah, we have Mesquite in the chute right now. And then they just finished with Naira. And then we have the last one's coming in.
Okay. So she has a temp, but she's crazy. 2519. Okay. In our chute, we have baby Mesquite, which is a great name for her because she's a spicy barbecue. She's very tiny. She's one of the smallest babies in this group, and she's a little chestnut. She's much more reactive than the rest of her group. So far, everybody we've processed has let me touch them, feed them, palpate, and she is jumping around, spinning. So her temperature was a little bit elevated today. And this is one of those times where, as a clinician, you have to decide what the variables are. It is cold, right? So having an elevated temp in the summer when it's super hot is not a big deal. In this case, I've been watching this little filly just absolutely be worried and run herself in little circles for the last about hour and a half because she wasn't the first one that came in. So I made the decision to go ahead and vaccinate her today, even though her temp was a little bit elevated. My thought process behind that was her lung sounds are perfect now. She doesn't have any more nasal discharge, and her submandibular lymph nodes are rapidly improving. So she was very sick, and she significantly improved. Following the book would have been to pull a blood sample and run a CBC, but she's very, very, very afraid. And in order to get a blood sample, I would have to put a halter on her and restrain her for that blood draw. And cost-benefit analysis just wasn't there for me today. Otherwise, I'm really happy with how she looks. She's eating and drinking and very active and otherwise very healthy looking. So I went ahead and gave her those vaccines. Vaccines are really important for these young animals. And this group was weaned way too early. So they didn't get the maternal antibodies they should have been getting from moms, which is really sad. So in the case today, I wanted to vaccinate her because she is at elevated risk of some of those other viral diseases. So she got that today, and this whole group, I'm really hopeful we can list as adoptable. They've been in quarantine a long time because they were very, very sick. But so far today, I'm really happy with how everybody has looked, and we're hopeful that we'll have an exact end date for adoption. We've had a lot of interest in these guys, and they are really warming up to people much more quickly than a lot of the Mustangs we get, probably because they're all little babies. So we're going to turn her back out with her friends and get the next horse. Spicy Mesquite. She's real reactive. There she goes.
Next we have this horse.
Go, good job. Okay. Does one of you want to back up? Can I have the scanner? I think I can get temps. Thank you, thank you. 100.8, 73. Easy. Easy.
You're okay, buddy.
This one, 100.8 and microchip. Yeah, perfect.
And then Chenoa is going back to her pen over there too.
You're okay. Good job. You got an itchy spot right there. You're okay. Good job. You're okay. Very good. Okay, cleared for vaccination.
This is our last little baby to look at, and he is very reactive. So.
Easy. You don't need to be worried. You're okay.
Nicole is going to vaccinate Concho.
You're
There we go.
Quick and easy. It's like wonderful when they turn around and express interest, but then you're like, oh, now my strategy for movement is
Concho is going back into the pen. Good job.
okay, here, I'll go snag this one.
Okay, the last one is Arizona.
We just finished taking a look at Arizona. She's a little mare who's about 1.5, maybe closer to 2. She did great. Her lymph nodes are fully resolved and her heart and lung sound normal as far as I could tell. She was one of the more reactive ones of the group, so my ability to auscult her was a little bit limited, but she is one of the older ones in this group, and so she had actually already been vaccinated, so she didn't get any vaccines today. But I'm really happy because this whole group, now we have a definitive timeline so we can tell people when they'll be ready for adoption. So we're gonna move her out, and then we're gonna turn this whole group back out into their field, except the one that has the very concerning radial nerve paralysis. We're keeping up in the intake barn, and then we're keeping a friend for her. So we're keeping 2 little fillies up. One is just a companion and the other one is for medical concern. So we just finished up running these 9 babies through for rechecks. Of this group, we only had one that we had major medical concerns about. There's 2 chestnut fillies right behind me. The one that's further out, you can see that right forelimb is dropped and dragging. So we've been concerned for some time about a shoulder injury that caused damage to the radial nerve. The radial nerve is what innervates the part of the leg that pull the leg up and kind of back over. And if you watch this little filly, she drags that leg a lot and she has a really difficult time and she falls a lot. So she came to us with those concerns and they've been pretty static, but now that we've taken a closer look, we're really concerned that we're not going to be able to do a lot to improve that. Our vet team likes to kind of sit down, look at all of the diagnostics and discuss. So we haven't done that yet, but we're going to keep her up here. We're going to get her some bedding in a larger area. The other little filly with her is up here to be a companion, so she doesn't have to stay up for medical concerns by herself. And there go the rest of their herd mates are getting turned back out. So this whole group was very, very sick. They were all weaned too early. Well, everybody but 2. Sadly, we had one of these very young foals die, and but thankfully we only lost 1. And so we had to keep them in quarantine for a lot longer. But now that we have resolved symptoms as of today, we're going to quarantine them for an additional 30 days, and then they'll all be ready for adoption. So way longer than normal, but we're thankful that so many of them are healthier and are going to be able to make it to adoption.